ahead to 2024, be sure to check out my summer movie season breakdown, link down below. I also want to take a specific look at Disney because the Mouse House is having some significant problems. In fact, they're so bad that in the latest earnings call, Bob Iger even had to admit it. He was like, oh, our box office is not what it should be. But he said, don't worry, he's personally working on bringing the Mouse House back to its former box office glory. But how's he going to do that? Does he even know how to do that? And also, how's he going to do it for 2024 when most of these movies are already very far along? So, I mean, like the Bob Iger effect, if it's true, it probably wouldn't happen until maybe 2025. So let's see how things are looking for Disney. Are they going to improve in 2024, or will Bob Iger still be making apologies? Will he still be on the ropes? And I'll tell you what I feel are the movies that are probably going to be hits or underperformers or bombs, and you can play along down below as well. Now, as of now, Disney doesn't plan to release a film in 2024 until March. Disney, before they acquired Fox kind of pushed them a little over the edge, but they used to do like one movie a month. When they were really in their zone, Disney would release maybe one movie a month, and they had such a strong fan base and their brand was so strong at that point that there were many moviegoers who just went to see Disney movies. A lot of people only go to see one movie a month. I know, I don't understand that either, but they're out there and they're a large number. And they used to always pick the Disney movie, so Disney was doing great. But now, that's not the case. And now Disney's not releasing a movie every month, which is interesting. But anyway, so they don't get started until March, and that will be with Pixar's Elio. And the trailer, I think, was delightful. But is this another movie that you could really watch on Disney Plus, right? Like, Pixar needs to start making films that just scream they need to be seen in theaters. And they also need to stop making faux DreamWorks animation films. I mean, some of them are quite good, but it dilutes the Pixar brand. Remember back in the day, Pixar was the Christopher Nolan of animation studios? They really have lost that. Then later that very month, Disney will release like nothing and then two movies the same month. Disney will release its live action Snow White, already a lightning rod of controversy. Well, so was Captain Marvel, and that also came out in March, and it made $1 billion. There were extenuating circumstances, of course, being, between Infinity War and Endgame, and it also had Skrulls in the film, but still $1 billion is impressive. And you know what else made $1 billion in March? Beauty and the Beast. So this is a pretty good release date. Now, The Little Mermaid, though, another film that race-bended a Disney princess, did not make it to $1 billion. In fact, it underperformed. It wasn't a bomb, but it did underperform. So we'll see what happens with Snow White. By the way, does anyone want to interview Tony-winning actor Andrew Burnap, who plays the prince? Or maybe play up the fact that Greta Gerwig co-wrote the screenplay? Or how about the new songs from Pasek and Paul? There are very good talking points for this movie. Why is Disney not bringing them up? And I would, I don't know if Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot maybe should be front and center for the PR campaign, considering how it's gone so far. All right, but I gotta tell you, I think that movie might still be good. It might still be good. All right. I wasn't sure at first, but some images leaked, which I can't discuss. But if those are true, I thought it looked pretty good. All right, then Marvel once again kicks off the summer movie season with Deadpool 3. And like Tom Hiddleston with Loki, Ryan Reynolds is an excellent custodian of the Deadpool character. This is a nostalgia fest for the Fox Marvel movies, and the fun will be seeing who Reynolds is able to bring back. Rumor has it, and I've heard he's bringing back quite a few people, and also what he's able to get away with in terms of sarcastic commentary. And again, based on some unfortunate leaks, it seems he's being allowed to go pretty far. Oh, this is going to be so great. It will also be fun to see how Deadpool and maybe some other characters, because we know some of them are returning for Secret Wars, how they will find themselves in the MCU by the end of the movie. A lot of leaks, as I said, a lot of leaks. And that didn't hurt the box office for No Way Home or Multiverse of Madness, but it did kind of hurt the viewing experience, particularly for Multiverse of Madness. Those leaks were true, by the way. It's just they reshot the film so extensively because it tested so poorly, with Disney employees, by the way, that a lot of that stuff didn't come to pass. But I think, there's a fine line on leaks, and I think giving away surprises is not the way to go. My rule is always, if it's going to be in the ad campaign, No Way Home pulled a crazy ad campaign. You would think that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield would have been in the ad campaign, but they weren't. But I feel if it's going to be in the ad campaign, it's fair game. All right, so but a lot of this stuff, these Deadpool leaks would not be, well, maybe we'll see. Maybe they will now because they've leaked. What is your feeling on where do you put the line for leaks? I know some of you just want to watch the world burn, or at least Hollywood. 2024 is also a big year for Disney trying to revive some major Fox franchises. Kind of like, hopefully, Avatar worked out so well for Disney, right? They're like, wow, it's like buying a blind box and being like, look what's in here, another $2 billion entry. But while James Cameron is, because like they didn't buy Fox for Avatar, it was just fantastic frosting on the cake. But while James Cameron is clearly the secret sauce when it comes to Avatar, interestingly, Disney has picked very weak directors to take over Apes and Alien, both hitting theaters summer 2024. Wes Ball from the Maze Runner movies? I mean, I don't care how good he was in The Room or how good his pitch was. He directed the Maze Runner movies and nothing else since then. I would rather go with a hot indie director who shows like some really, let's see. Disney took all the interesting stuff out of Nia DaCosta, it seems, for the Marvel. So I guess you never know for sure. But I mean, I wouldn't gamble the Apes franchise on Wes Ball. If he wants to do an original film, maybe I'll give him like 10 mil. But the Apes franchise, there's got to be somebody else. And then Fede Alvarez has some credibility in the horror space for sure. Look what he did to the Dragon Tattoo franchise. He killed it dead. To be honest, it really seems like these are direct-to-Hulu movies that Disney's trying to float out as theatrical releases. Like Prey. I know some of you really enjoyed Prey, part of another iconic Fox franchise, Predator. But let's be honest, it was the right move to put it on Hulu. Like in theaters, would you have thought it was as good? I mean, I think as many of you liked it, and some of you might have loved it and been like, this is amazing if it debuted in theaters. But I think the majority of you would have waited to stream it on Hulu. So these seem like Hulu releases to me, which is not good because, we're trying to revive these iconic franchises. Then Pixar has another release this year with Inside Out 2, although considering how upset some moviegoers are, and they're quite upset about Disney's messaging, is Inside Out 2 really the franchise to continue with in that space, right, when we're in this space? Here, Riley will be a teenager, so that should be funny, dealing with her emotions, right? But it's also a potential minefield when it comes to messaging. Talk about a tightrope act for Pixar. Also, while Inside Out is one of their most beloved films, Pixar has always had a bit of a sequel problem. You know it's true. I mean, who can defend Finding Dory? I mean, yikes. I'm nervous. Then, if they make this date, and they're making this movie very quietly, Disney's live-action Lion King prequel Mufasa is set for the 4th of July holiday. It's weird. How is there no buzz about this whatsoever? I mean, there was kind of buzz when they announced it, and it's supposedly in production, and maybe it still can be because it's basically technically an animated movie if they did the voiceover work early before the actors strike. But it's like a secret movie. People love The Lion King, though. Both versions basically made about $1 billion. And this will be a new story and has a fantastic filmmaker at the helm in Barry Jenkins. So that could be great. And then Marvel returns as well, double dipping in the very same summer with Captain America: Brave New World. I don't know. I think this might be too close to Deadpool 3, although that's all about the Fox movies and this is going to be pure MCU. Also, as I said in my summer 2024 breakdown, with Deadpool 3 paused for the actors' strike, pausing production, maybe these movies will end up switching release dates back again, with Brave New World kicking off the summer and Deadpool 3 opening up maybe at the end of the year, although Thunderbolts might not make it either, which we're going to talk about in a moment, so maybe Deadpool could take that date around Christmas. I could see that actually happening, because I don't even think the script is finished on Thunderbolts. That's really behind. But back to Captain America, with today's climate, Anthony Mackie has an unfortunate uphill battle taking over the Captain America mantle in the movies. Harrison Ford is supposed to help, but Dial of Destiny seems to suggest otherwise. Then yes, Thunderbolts. Marvel is going for 3 movies in 2024, despite people, even Bob Iger himself, saying they've oversaturated the marketplace. But they're still going for 3 movies in 2024. Although, again, Thunderbolts might not make it. Both the writers and the actors are on strike. Deadpool 3 is mid-filming, but Thunderbolts still needs script tweaks before it can even roll camera. So it's pretty, although it is the end of 2024, so maybe it could make this date, but the longer the strike goes on, the less likely. And again, I think Deadpool 3 might need this date. The more I think about it, the more I like moving it around that way and moving Thunderbolts to 2025, so far away. But anyway, Disney's not giving up this release date, which is right before Christmas. Usually it's a Star Wars or an Avatar movie, but neither one is ready. So Marvel gets the date, either again for Thunderbolts or Deadpool 3. Feige has some chutzpah ripping off the Suicide Squad, but then again, everybody loves the Suicide Squad. And what a lineup of characters for this movie. I love this lineup. Plus, it's from the creative team behind Netflix's Beef, which had a controversy, which I'm not even sure they survived, but they're clearly very talented. So I think this movie could be excellent. I wouldn't rush it. I would not rush this film, because I think it could be really, really strong. Speaking of Disney cornering holidays, Disney Animation always releases a movie for Thanksgiving, and sure enough, they are holding this date, but they have made no official announcement as to what this movie will be, which is very worrisome that they still haven't announced it. Like, what are they waiting for? Let's see. They're having a rough time over there, too. Finally, Disney has a small thriller under the Fox banner called The Amateur, but it has a strong cast, even though it's a small film. Rami Malek, Lawrence Fishburne, and our new Lois Lane, Rachel Brosnahan. At least she'll hopefully get good reviews out of this, because I don't suspect she's going to get strong box office. But that's okay. I don't think anybody would expect that film to have strong box office. Okay, now for the fun part. Well, not for Bob Iger. He's sweating bullets, but we get to decide which we think will be the guaranteed hits, which are likely to underperform, and if there are any bombs here. And of course, as I said, be sure to play along yourself down below. All right, so hits. I would say Deadpool 3, obviously. That's going to be a slam dunk. I can't see Ryan Reynolds messing that up. Thunderbolts, if it comes out in 2024. I love the cast. I love the creative team. And what do you know? Look at that. Marvel still delivers 2 out of 3. I'm not putting Captain America in this category, unfortunately, and I'll explain that in a moment. But still, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, so Marvel is still very valuable to Disney. And I think Kevin Feige continues to be safe. Mufasa. I would put Mufasa in the hits category because I believe in the Lion King brand, and I believe in Barry Jenkins. I think he's going to really deliver. And I'm going to also add Inside Out 2. I know, I hate the first film, and I said this was very risky, but it has such a strong legion of fans. I think this should do well. I don't know if it's going to make like $1 billion, but I think it could do very close. I think it could do well. I feel good about Inside Out 2. I mean, never underestimate Disney's ability to shoot themselves in the foot, right? They could make a decision where I'm like, well, that's done. But right now I feel good about it. Underperformers, sadly Snow White. But you know what? I didn't put it in the bomb section, which I'm sure some of you have already done. Now, and yes, the movie will definitely have its haters, but I think it could still post the Little Mermaid numbers, and those were solid. That was also underperforming, but it was by no means a bomb. Now, I'm afraid I'm going to have to put, as I said, Captain America Brave New World here as well. Because while Sam Wilson became Captain America in the comics, technically this is still race-bending a character. And I mean, a lot of people who watch the movies don't read the comics. And so to them, it's a new idea. And Hollywood has had a very hard time with that, with race-bending characters instead of original characters of color like Black Panther or Miles Morales, which have been extremely well received by all audiences. Also, after She-Hulk and Dial of Destiny, I think a bunch of Hulks and Harrison Ford are not guarantees either. So I'm certainly not saying it'll bomb, but I have some concern it might be, when I say underperform, I'm thinking 500 to 600 million. Bombs. Elio. Sorry, Pixar. Again, I think this looks delightful, but it just doesn't look like something that's theater worthy. I also have very little faith, as I'm sure you guessed, in the Apes and Alien movies coming from those directors. And while The Amateur might end up being a great movie, I just don't think that Rami Malek or Rachel Brosnahan can sell movie tickets. I just don't. I mean, Mrs. Maisel was never a ratings juggernaut. But it could do very well, I think, on digital and streaming down the line. It could actually be very big on digital and streaming. And we'll see if, they go ahead and... the only reason I can think they might release it in theaters is because maybe it's an awards contender, especially with that cast. But it's a CIA thriller, so how is that a strong awards contender? Let's see what it looks like. So let's see. So I think 2024 seems like a pretty good gamble for Disney, actually. They have a solid amount of, I think, very likely hits. But true to form, most of the liabilities they have for 2024, they should have seen coming. But you know what? Some risks are worth taking. Are there any 2024 risks that you think Disney is right to roll the dice on? Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.